Hello, my name is Juan Marino. I'm a graduate research assistant with the Pollution Prevention Team at West Virginia University. In this video, I'll be walking you through the fundamentals of the REAP grant, a USDA program designed to help rural small businesses and agricultural producers reduce their energy costs through energy efficiency improvements or renewable energy projects. Whether you're a business owner or someone assisting with the application process, this video is meant to guide you step by step. You don't need a background in grants or federal programs. I'll keep it straightforward. I'll cover what the REAP grant is, who is eligible, how to begin the process, and the types of support that are available. My goal is to make this information accessible and useful, especially for those who may be new to the grant application process. Here's the overview. I'll start by explaining what REAP is, then talk about eligibility, what projects qualify, and how to get funding, including grants and loan guarantees. I'll also touch on the application timeline and where to go if you need help. The Rural Energy for America program, or REAP, offers grant funding and guaranteed loans. It's specifically for rural small businesses and agricultural producers. You can apply to fund energy efficiency upgrades or renewable energy systems, things like better lighting, HVAC systems, equipment upgrades, and more. There are several important steps. First, check if you're eligible. Then if you're doing an energy efficiency project, you will need an energy audit. After that, get quotes for your project. Register with sam.gov to get your Unique Entity ID, or UEI, and complete the required forms. Finally, submit your application before the deadline. So who is eligible? If you're a small business located in a rural area or an agricultural producer making at least 50% of your income from your operation, you can apply. That includes private for profits like sole proprietors and corporations, cooperatives, rural electric utilities, and tribal entities. The key is you must meet the SBA, which stands for Small Business Administration, size standards and have no outstanding federal debts or judgments. Now, a quick note on location. Small businesses must be in rural areas with populations under 50,000. And if you're in West Virginia, you're covered. If you're an agricultural producer, your project doesn't have to be in a rural area as long as it supports your production. Scan this QR code to check if you're eligible for REAP grant and for eligible rural areas. Let's talk about funding. For energy efficiency projects, you can receive between $1,500 and $500,000. For renewable energy projects, between $2,500 and $1 million. The REAP grant can cover up to 50% of eligible project costs. If you combine it with a loan guarantee, that could bring total support up to 75%. Remember, some of this may change depending on USDA updates, so always double check the latest guidance. You can use these funds to install energy efficient upgrades like HVAC systems, insulation, lighting, refrigeration, better doors and windows, or replacing inefficient equipment. The funds can also cover renewable energy systems like solar panels, wind turbines, hydropower, biomass, geothermal, and even ocean energy systems. Both small and large-scale systems can be eligible. Loan fees apply if you're interested in taking a loan guarantee. There's an upfront fee of 1% and an annual retention fee of 0.25% on the remaining loan amount. Other fees depend on your lender. Interest rates are set between you and your lender. They can be fixed or variable. Just know that if it's variable, the rate can only change once per quarter, not more than that. A couple of rules. If you're applying as an individual, you must be a U.S. citizen or legal resident. If it is a business entity, the project has to be based in the U.S. and the money must stay in the U.S. Some projects, like the ones that are zero emission or located in energy communities, may qualify for the full 50% grant. Others are capped at 25%. You will also need matching funds if applying for a grant, and your project must use reliable, proven technology. Remember, grant percentages, eligible amounts, and deadlines are subject to change. Always check the USDA REAP website or reach out to us directly if you have any questions. If you're applying for energy efficiency improvements, You'll need an energy audit. That means assessing how much energy your building or equipment uses now and where savings can happen. You must use a certified provider, like someone listed through the Department of Energy. Our pollution prevention WVU team offers these audits for $250 or less, and they meet all REAP guidelines. Before you apply, you need to register your business at sam.gov. This is required for all federal funding. You'll receive a UEI, which is part of the registration. Here's the process. First, go to www.sam.gov and create an account. Then register your business. During that process, you will be assigned your UEI. Submit your information and make sure to keep it updated. Start this step early. It can take several weeks to process. Double check your business name, your tax identification number, and your address. Make sure everything matches. And if you run into any problems, use the help section or reach out for support. Now, before we wrap up this introductory video, let's go over the main forms you will need to submit when applying for the REAP grant. First, there's Form 4280, which comes in 3 versions depending on your project size. 4283A is for projects under $80,000. 4283B is for projects between $80,000 and $200,000. 4283C is for projects over $200,000. This is your main REAP application, and the version you use depends entirely on your total project cost. You will also need to submit the SF 424, which is the standard federal assistance application form. Form 424C, which outlines your project's budget. Form 424D, which confirms that your project complies with federal construction standards. And the environmental checklist, which helps USDA assess the environmental impact of your project. All of these forms are available online as PDFs. Thanks for watching this introduction. In the next video, we'll walk you through the specific forms and supporting documents depending on your project size. In this section, I will go over how to complete Form SF-424 for REAP application under $80,000. This example is for lighting upgrade project. Check application if this is your official submission. Only check change or corrected if you're resubmitting an updated version. In this field, mark new for a first-time request. If it is a revision or a continuation of a previous application, indicate so and specify the reason with the appropriate letter codes. Leave this field blank. Rural development staff will fill in the date for you. You may use an internal ID in the applicant identifier box if needed, but it's optional. Leave field 5A and 5B blank for a new application. Only fill them out if this is a revision or a continuation of an existing reward. Field 6 and 7 are completed by the state. You do not need to fill anything in here. In field 8A, enter your business's legal name, exactly as it appears in your sam.gov registration. It must match IRS records. In field 8B and C, provide your employer identification number and your unique entity ID from sam.gov. Both are required. Fill in your business address, including SIP +4 postal code. If you don't have a SIP +4 postal code, enter 4 zeros in that section. Field 8E is optional. You can include your department name if applicable, such as facilities or energy projects. Field 8F. Here, enter the name and contact details of the person responsible for the application. Make sure the phone and email are accurate. Field 9. Select your applicant type. For example, if you're applying as a private business, choose R for small business. Field 10. Enter Rural Business Cooperative Service, USDA. In Field 11, enter 10.868 for the REAP program. The CFDA title is Rural Energy for America Program. In Field 12, use the funding opportunity number shown in the slide. The title is, again, Rural Energy for America Program. Field 13 can be left blank unless your state office has specified otherwise. Field 14. This data element is intended for use only by programs for which the area or areas affected are likely to be different than the place of performance reported. In field 15, write a clear and descriptive project title. Like for example, lighting upgrade for energy efficiency improvement at XYZ business. Attach supporting documents if appropriate. In field 16, enter the state and district of your business, such as WV002, and use the same code for both 16A and 16B. Attach an additional list of program or project congressional districts if needed. Enter your planned start and end dates. Make sure they fall within the current REAP funding window program. In box 18, enter the grant amount you're requesting. Use other boxes to show matching funds from you or other sources. Totals must reflect your full project cost. In field 19, check box C. The REAP program is not subject to Executive Order 12372. In field 20, answer truthfully. If your business is not behind on any federal debts, select no. If yes, provide an explanation and attach any documents if needed. In field 21, the person legally authorized to submit this application signs here. Include full contact details and ensure that authorization is on file. Make sure you double check all information. Make sure your business name, UEI, and project title match across all forms. Use black ink or type text and avoid leaving required fields blank. Now we will discuss Form 4283A, required for REAP projects with total cost of $80,000 or less. We'll walk through each section specifically for our lighting upgrade project. In field 1A, here we list the applicant's legal name, which should match block 8A of SF 424 form. In field 1B, indicate the race of the applicant. In field 1C and 1D, indicate the gender and ethnicity of the applicant. In field 1E, check if the applicant is a veteran. In field 1F, indicate if the applicant is a member of a socially disadvantaged group. Field 2 is a compulsory section of the application where the applicant must provide the title of the project, which is the same as stated in the form SF 424. In our case, the title of the project is Lighting Upgrade for Energy Efficiency Improvement at XYZ Business, and it matches form SF 424. In field 3, provide your UEI, your unique entity identifier, number that you got after SAM registration. In field 4, provide the name of the person who will be accepting or distributing federal funds from the grant. In field 5, the applicant must indicate the type of business they own, if it's an agricultural producer or rural small business. Also provide NAICS code and size limitation. In field 6, the applicant must describe the ownership of the project and its relationship with applicant operation. Describe how the project fits into or operates separately from the applicant overall business or agriculture production operation. For example, the plant upgrade to LED lighting will be fully integrated into XYZ business operations, improving energy efficiency and reducing operational costs, directly supporting the sustainability and competitiveness of the company. In field 6B, explain who owns the project and owns or controls the facility. In field 6C, for each entity the applicant controls or is controlled by, provide a list of owners with contact information. In field 6D, indicate if the applicant is a tribal entity owned or operated by a federally recognized tribe, and if so, state the name of the tribe and where the project will take place. In field 7, you must identify the type of energy project being funded. In our case, it's an energy efficiency improvement project, so check field 7A. But if your project is a renewable energy system that does not emit greenhouse gases, check this respective box. And if your project is a renewable energy system that emits greenhouse gases, check this field. If your project is a hybrid type of two or more technologies supporting a single system, select technologies above and give a short description of how they work together. In this field, briefly explain what the project does. Mention location, scope, and benefit. For example, something like this will work. Lighting will be upgraded throughout the XYZ business facility located at 55 University Avenue, Morgantown, West Virginia. The existing 4-foot T8 fluorescent lamps will be replaced with 4-foot T8 style retrofit LED lamps. These drop-in replacement will improve light quality in the facility and reduce energy costs. In this field, list the major construction-related costs such as equipment, labor, and other project expenses. List total project cost and grant request. Make sure you break down costs into material, labor, and equipment. Use the same numbers as in the Form SF424C. Include costs incurred after the full application is submitted. Provide details for any known and ineligible project cost. This could be feasibility studies, research and development costs, admin expenses, etc. In this section, don't put anything. This is only applicable to renewable energy systems, so this can be skipped. For energy efficiency projects, you're required to calculate simple payback. This is total project cost over annual energy cost savings. And this will be calculated in section 8F. In this section, the applicant must provide all the information about the service providers that will be working to construct and install the project, such as energy auditor, site assessor, contractor, installer, electrician, to name a few. In this section of the form, the applicant must prove the qualifications of the service provider by either attaching the resume or filling in the information below. This section is only applicable to renewable energy system. The applicant must provide a technical report as directed by and CFR 4280. The applicant must provide the vendor installer certificate filled by the vendor. The applicant must also provide the energy audit and the qualification of the personnel that conducted the energy audit. The WVU P2 team provides this. It documents current energy usage, proposed upgrades, projected savings, and simple payback. Be sure to attach it to your application. In this section, the applicant must fill in the existing usage of energy from the energy assessment audit that they received from the energy auditor team. Here, the applicant must fill in the proposed energy usage in kilowatt hours as provided in the energy audit, which gets automatically converted into BTU. If not, you can manually do so by following this slide. This section of the application usually gets completed on its own from all the information provided prior to this section. If not, just follow the instructions on the slide notes using the information from an energy assessment report and fill it out. Here, the applicant must disclose if any farmland is being converted. If yes, provide the size of the farmland in acres. Also answer if the project contributes to deforestation or fire hazards, as well as answer if the project conserves water and explain how much. In this field, indicate if the project complies with Environmental Protection Agency renewable fuel standards. And also indicate if of at least 25% of the project components are bio-based. Here, the applicant must disclose all the source of funds for the project, including own funds and if they have taken any loans. In this section of the application, the applicant must disclose any relationship with any employee of rural development staff. Here, indicate if you have received any previous funding under the REAP program. Also, check the box below to certify whether the applicant is in good standing or not. In this section, confirm that all USDA REAP program requirements are met by checking each box. By checking certification A, it means you're either an agricultural producer earning over 50% of your gross income from agricultural operations, or a rural small business as defined by SBA size standards. Certification B is for energy efficiency improvements. The project must reduce energy use compared to the existing equipment or building. Certification C is about not starting anything before the USDA gives the green light. If you do, you could lose eligibility. Certification D certifies that the applicant meets the simplified application criteria for projects with total project cost of $80,000 or less. Certification E means you or your contractor are fully responsible for managing and funding the project, including during construction. USDA won't oversee that part. By checking certification F, the applicant is certifying that the construction planning and project development will follow USDA's regulations. By checking certification G, the applicant agrees not to request any grant funds until the project is fully completed and functioning as intended. This certification, the applicant certifies that they will maintain the insurance required by USDA. Here, the applicant confirms that the design, installation, and components of the project will be sufficient to meet its intended energy savings goal. Check certification J box to confirm that the equipment for the project is available, can be purchased and delivered on time, and will be installed according to the manufacturer's specifications. In certification K, you certify that the project will be constructed following all applicable laws, regulations, permits, codes, and standards. In certification L, you agree to follow USDA's procurement guidelines, which require open and fair competition when selecting vendors or contractors. In certification M, you confirm that your project will comply with equal employment opportunity requirements. Certification A applies only to bioenergy projects and does not apply to typical energy efficiency improvements. So this should be unchecked. The applicant must attach all the necessary documents listed. In this section is where the applicant certifies that all the information is accurate and complete. It confirms compliance with the conditions outlined in sections 12 through 16 of the application. In this section, I will walk you through the environmental checklist form that's part of the REAP application. This checklist ensures our project complies with environmental requirements under USDA guidelines. Let's go step by step through this form. Field 1 and 2 ask for the applicant's name and the exact physical location of the project. It must include the full address, latitude and longitude coordinates, and a legal description like tax map or parcel number to ensure proper environmental assessment. This section is to confirm that photos and a site map are attached. These should clearly show the building and its exact location, if there's any trenching or electrical work involved. It should be marked on the map using tools like Google Maps or GIS software. In Field 4, briefly describe what the funds will be used for. Say exactly what's being upgraded and where. If it's only interior work with no ground disturbance, make that clear. Here, indicate the size of a project and its impact on the site, including roads, right-of-ways, utilities, or other impacts, if any. Here, check No if the project does not involve construction or changes to land. Provide land ownership and describe how it is currently used and what is around it. In Field 6B, if the project involves digging or ground disturbance, explain what kind and include if the project site was previously disturbed. In Field 7, write the official zoning designation for your property. This can be found on your local county or city zoning map or by calling your planning office. Enter age of building. Also indicate if the project is near a structure that is at least 50 years old. If unsure, use Google Earth or your local property records website to check for nearby construction dates. Then select Yes if your building or site is officially listed on the state or national register of historic places. If yes, attach documentation. In Field 11, answer yes only if the building is over 50 years old, near a historic site or on the register, and you have State Historic Preservation Office approval. If no, continue. If tribes or tribal historic preservation officers have been contacted, check yes. Attach documentation and summarize any responses in the box. If no, check no and continue. Check if the project is within designated historic district. attach any supporting documentation and summarize feedback or approval. If no, check no and move on. In field 14, you need to go to the IPAC website, generate a report for your project location, and attach the report to your application. After seeing your report, check yes if there are any threatened or endangered species or critical habitats within the area, and briefly explain in the box. In field 15, mark yes if the project will involve cutting or trimming any trees, and give detail in the box. If no, check no and move on. If yes was selected in the previous question, and if applicable, confirm whether tree clearing can avoid critical timeframes for wildlife. If no, explain briefly and move on. For field 16, check yes if the project is near or may affect a wetland. If yes, attach a wetlands map. If no, just check no and move on. You can use the mapper or the web soil survey. If yes to 16, note if permits were issued. Attach documentation, and if no, check no and move on. In field 17, check yes if a project is in or near 100 or 500 year floodplain. Use the FEMA map of check the web soil survey and attach any documentation. Check yes if the project is near parks, monuments, landmarks, wild scenic rivers, or protected lands. If yes, attach a map and explain in 18A whether a land agency was contacted. If no, check the box and continue. If you are an inland project, check no for field 19 and move on. For field 20, check yes if the project is on or near prime, important, or unique farmland. You can use the web soil survey or the FPPA guidance available from NRCS. For field 20A, answer yes if the NRCS has completed a land evaluation site assessment for the site and attach any documentation. For field 20B, answer yes if the project helps save or offset energy use for a farm or agriculture producer and attach a letter. Mark yes if the project involves storing, processing, or disposing of hazardous materials, and briefly describe materials and processes involved. For field 22, check yes if a phase 1 ESA has been completed. This is typically needed if loan is over $100,000 and the agency will hold real estate as collateral, and attach any documentation. For field 23, check yes if hazardous substances or petroleum have been released on the property and explain. If no, check the box and continue. Check yes if there's an underground tank on the property and describe the tank. If no, check no and continue. Mark yes if above ground storage tanks are on the property. If yes, check if they're in secondary containment. If no, check the box and move on. For field 26, mark yes if the project could emit or release hazardous materials, pollutants, petroleum, or natural gas without permits. If yes, explain what and how in the box. If no, check the box no and move on. Here, mark yes if the project involves new construction and may affect aquifers, wellhead protection areas, or watershed protection areas. If yes, describe what resources impacted and how. If no, just check and continue. In field 28, answer yes if you're aware of any environmental concerns, opposition, or disputes related to the project. If yes, briefly explain the concern. If no, just check and proceed. In field 29, check yes if the project might negatively impact minority or low-income communities. Note here, the tool, EPA EJ screen, nor the USDA policy are available. In field 30, mark yes if the facility is connected to a municipal wastewater system. If no, describe the existing on-site system and its capacity. In field 31, mark yes if the facility is connected to a municipal water system. If no, describe the on-site water system and its capacity. In field 32, check yes if the county is in non-attainment or maintenance status per EPA air quality standards. You can use an EPA Assist or the EPA Green Book to confirm. Here, enter your full name and title at the date the form is completed. Signature can be typed or handwritten, depending on submission requirements. Now we will go over SF 424C Budget Information Form for construction programs. This form breaks down all project costs and how we categorize them for the REAP grant. Line 1 is for administrative and legal expenses. These cover costs like legal services or admin support. For this project, we didn't have any, so it's 0. Line 2 is land, structures, rights of ways. This refers to buying land or rights to use land. Since the lighting upgrade is inside an existing building, no land-related costs apply, so we leave this blank. And line 3 is for relocation expenses. This would apply if any people or businesses had to move, but it is not relevant here. Line 4 is for architectural and engineering fees. These cover design services. Since we're just replacing fixtures, no engineering work was required. Line 5 is for other architectural fees. Things like energy modeling or third-party reviews will go here. Again, not needed in our case. Line 6 is for project inspection fees. This is used if a formal inspection is required. Since we didn't have this for lining projects, so we leave it blank. Line 7 is for site work fees. That means grading, excavation, or paving. No outdoor work in this case, so we leave this as 0. Line 8 is for demolition and removal fees. This applies if we tore anything down. Since this was a retrofit project, nothing was demolished. Line 9 is for construction fees. This includes labor. We added $2,871 for the cost of installation work. Line 10 is for equipment costs. This line covers the cost of materials or equipment. In this project, we spent $12,386 on 1,126 T8 style retrofit LED fixtures. Line 11 is for miscellaneous costs. This is a catch-all for small costs that don't fit elsewhere. In our case, we left this blank. Line 12 is subtotal. This is the total of all direct costs from lines 1 through 11. Ours comes to be a subtotal of $15,257. Line 13 is for contingencies. These are funds reserved for unexpected costs. In our case, we didn't include any, so we left this as 0. Line 14 is for the total, the subtotal. This is the full cost of the project, including contingency, if any. Still $15,247 for us. Line 15 is project income. If the project generates money during construction, listed here. In our case, it's not applicable. Line 16 is for total project costs. This is your final project cost after subtracting any project income. So you subtract line 15 from line 14. In our case, it's still $15,257. And lastly, line 17 is for federal assistance requested. In our case, we're requesting a grant of 50% of total costs. That comes out to $7,628.50 for this project. In this section, we will go over Form 424D. This is the assurances for construction programs. It is required when applying for federal funding that involves any kind of construction or installation work, like lighting upgrade, for example. It lists the federal laws and regulations that your project needs to follow. You're not filing anything outline by line here, just signing to confirm that you understand and agree to comply with those rules if your project is approved. The first field is for the signature of the authorized certifying official. This should be someone with the legal authority to make commitments on behalf of your business or organization. It's usually the same person who signs the main application form, SF 424. Next is the title field, where you input the job title of the person signing the form, like owner, CEO, president, or similar. Applicant organization field. This must exactly match the name of the business or applicant shown in field 8A of your SF 424 form. If submitted through grants.gov, the form is signed electronically upon submission. The last required field is the date submitted. Enter the same date your application package is submitted. Make sure all these fields are accurate because this form confirms your compliance with federal construction regulations. Now, we will cover how USDA evaluates REAP applications. After initial screening for completeness, your project is scored based on a 100-point system. Here's how those points break down. Energy generated, saved, or replaced, 25 points. Previous REAP funding history, 15 points. Length of payback period, 15 points. Location in a disadvantaged or distressed area, 15 points. Your share of matching funds, 10 points. Environmental benefits, 10 points. Discretionary points from the state director, 10 points. These scores determine your project's competitiveness, so keep them in mind when preparing your application. Once applications are scored, a review committee ensures fairness and consistency. From there, the highest scoring projects are selected for funding. USDA also tries to balance funding across sectors and regions. Timing-wise, application processing usually takes 30 to 90 days after the submission window closes. Once selections are made, you will be notified of the outcome within 30 days. So expect the full process to take around 2 to 4 months from the date you submit. Here are some helpful resources to support your application. The REAP Application Process Guide, USDA's How-To series, Energy Investment Map and Energy Matrix, vendor certification templates for renewable and energy efficiency projects, the map tool to check if your location qualifies as disadvantaged or distressed. All of these links can clarify the application steps and make sure you're checking all the boxes. If you need help with your application, you can reach out to our WVU Pollution Prevention Team. We provide low to no cost assistance with energy assessments and REAP applications. Contact Dr. Ashish Nimbarte or Dr. Christopher Moore by email. We have officially completed the REAP application walkthrough series. If you have followed along, you should now have all the forms filled out and know what attachments are needed. Thanks for watching, and remember, double check your entire application packet before submission. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.